Namaste. Welcome to my 29th book synopsis. This time the book which I have selected is a Marathi book. So I will be having my synopsis in Marathi and English both. The name of the book is Anartha. Anartha Vikas Niti Sarvanashaच्या उंबरठ्यावर. Now this word anartha, typically everybody knows the word anarth, which is typically used, means destruction kind of a thing. But I believe author has used it in two meanings. One is this which I said, and second is opposite of artha. So opposite of money kind of a thing. Name of the author is Mr. Achyut Godbole. He is a IIT engineer, passed out from IIT Mumbai in 1972. Then spent considerable time in the industry, headed a lot of IT companies, took part in some important movements, and also author of at least 20 books on diverse subjects. Let us now come to the topic on what we are going to discuss. So, the book is on economy and the development that is happening in the world as well as in India, whether that the way we are progressing, whether it is progressing or regressing, and where are we going, what is the impact of it on the environment, etc., etc. The book has been divided primarily into 4 parts, okay, and those 4 parts are which we are going to talk on. Out of that, 2 I will discuss this time, second also half, and then remaining 2 next time, because the book is, I would say, it is more than a book. It is a reference book, which we can call it a granth, and that's why I thought I will do it. Will not be able to do justice if I do only in one part. So it will be in 2 synopsis. Will be there. Book has been divided, as I said, in 4 parts: current affairs, climate change, hedonism, as well as then closing remarks. So we'll start with current status. We all are told that GDP growth is the only one thing which is necessary. Is it right? And where are we as far as India is concerned? 1948 to 1980, our average GDP growth was 3.5%, which was definitely not bad, because our GDP growth before that was 0.8%. So it was 4.5 times than what it was earlier. However, plus during this time, lot of money was spent in creating infrastructure, but we are conveniently asked to forget that. Since 1980, slowly liberalization started. So what was the growth rate at that time? First 17 years it was 6.23%, then next decade it was 7.06%, and then actual growth in double digits started from 2008 onwards, but from 2017 again it has started to decline. Second thing happened during liberalization was government slowly started moving out of many businesses and it was opened for the private citizens. The logic was simple, that private sector coming in will bring in more efficiency, will bring in more employment, as well as demand supply will help to stabilize the prices. That happened to a certain extent, not entirely. At the same time, India being an agricultural economy, so typically any country when it progresses, it first is always agricultural economy, then it moves to industrial economy, and then it goes to service sector. India moved directly from agricultural economy to industrial economy as far as our percentage of GDP growth is concerned. I am not talking about the number of people depending on the sector. That is still agriculture. How did this happen? During the liberalization, a lot of new organizations came into picture, like BPO, software companies, banks, insurance companies, capital market, etc., which helped a lot of middle class to move to upper middle class and lower middle class to move to middle class. However, those who were poor, or maybe you can say 60% of the people who were poor, they remained poor only. So there was no impact on them. Author very clearly feels or says that governments, not only Indian, everywhere, should spend a lot of money on health, education, social justice, pension, common infrastructure, cheap housing, and clean toilets. Some of those things are happening, but not to the extent that is expected to happen. Author has given comparison not only with developed countries but with developing countries as well, and India is far behind on these parameters as well. India produced 9 billionaires in 2000, 53 in 2009, and 101 in 2017. Very good. However, at the same time, the income of bottom 10% of the population actually decreased during this time. Nowhere in the world is such an income inequality seen. GDP. Some of the important points which author says on GDP are worth listening. Number one, per capita GDP should be more important than national GDP. Number two, if we blindly run behind GDP, we will be harming environment and biodiversity. Number three, the GDP should actually be considered after taking into consideration pollution that it increases. So there should be a concept of net GDP, which is equal to gross GDP growth minus pollution growth is equal to net GDP growth. Number four, if GDP growth widens income inequality, it's of no use. Number five, growth in share market need not necessarily be correlated to GDP growth of the country. And number six, in the last decade, out of the total GDP growth, only 5% have reached bottom 60% of the population. So this concludes first part of the book. Second part starts with climate change. For climate change, it is necessary for us to understand what happens in the environment. So Earth gets light from the sun, and then it also emits back most of the energy which it has received, or light which it has received. However, this gets catched in the atmosphere which is around the Earth. Now, what does this atmosphere consist of? This has water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, and some other gases which are called as greenhouse gases. They keep relevant heat from passing away and then pass it up back to the Earth and keep the Earth warm, sufficient enough for us to survive. However, one of the gas in that is CO2, or carbon dioxide. The unfortunate part is CO2, which was earlier 280 ppm or particle per minute, has now increased in 2019 to 407 ppm. What is the impact of that? Carbon dioxide catches more heat and passes back to the Earth, which means what is the impact of that is naturally global warming. Yes, global warming is a reality. What are the impacts of global warming? Few of the very serious matters that is going to happen. High possibility of all ice glaciers getting melted. If they melt, we will see increase of height of the seas to the extent of 20 feet. I don't need to say more than that what can happen to the cities which are near to the sea. Number two, completely unpredictable climate. I guess everybody knows that. I don't need to talk about that. Number three, as much as we reduce biodiversity, we are going to suffer. Afforestation is must. Trees absorb carbon dioxide and give us back oxygen. We know that, but still we are cutting the trees. From 1970 to 2014, 60% of the population of animals, fish, flying birds have been eliminated by human beings. Every year in New York, at least 100 crore birds die after hitting the high rises. Last point, tremendous increase in pollution. Everybody sees that day in, day out. Now, nearing to the end of my synopsis number one, we will discuss on economics of climate. Since 1975, when Industrial Revolution began, people then started to produce more. Capability was created to produce more. As you produce more, you have to ensure that you sell everything. As you need to sell everything, you make people buy more. So a lot of advertisements got created. The people were, whether you make an advertisement where people buy, or whether you make the goods which are of shorter duration or shorter life, whether you make people feel that they are prestigious if they buy new. Everything was created in such a way that people started using use and throw. This concept was prevalent primarily in US or developed countries, has now started in India as well, and we are also going towards the economy where the repairing of earlier goods has started to go down. This is definitely not a great sign, but yes. And there are a lot of things which we will discuss in the next part. I think we would have spent 10, 11 minutes, 12 minutes already. We will not spend more time. So we will end our first session here, first synopsis here itself. In the next synopsis, what we are going to say is politics behind the economics, or politics behind the climate change, hedonism, which in Marathi we call it a Changalwad, and what are the implications of where are we going? How serious is the matter going to be going forward if we do not change very quickly and immediately? Before I sign off, a very big thank you to my college friend Ashish Fadnis, who suggested this wonderful book to me. If you are on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, you can see it in all those 3 channels. And if you like it, please subscribe to it, as well as give your comments. The first video will be posted on 1st of May, and second part of it will be posted on 16th of May. Thank you so much.